Alright, here we go. This is going to be my very first attempt at making spicy dill pickles. While I was growing up, my aunts and my mom and my grandmother, they all canned and made jams and everything else, and I didn't have anything to do with it other than tasting everything until about 10 years ago when I decided, I can do this, I can start and I can try. So far, most of what I've done has been a success, so I decided let's try this one. What I did to start with is I got a hold of my aunt and said, how did you make those? And she said she got a package from the store, and I could get it from Walmart. She was making bread and butter pickles. I decided I was going to make the dill, so I got the Mrs. Wages kosher dill pickles. And to add a little spice and tang, I added some roasted garlic, some 6-pepper blend, so I like everything spicy and tangy. I went ahead and already prepped 6-quart jars. I'm not sure how many it'll take. Like I said, I'm still experimenting. And then these are the sliced up cucumbers. One of my neighbors had them in his garden and brought them over, and I thought this was the best way to use them. So as you can see over here on the stove, I've already got the water in my canning pot boiling, so I can go ahead and get those taken care of as soon as the pickles are ready to go in the jars and be coated with the brine. And right over here is the brining mixture. As I said, I just followed the directions, which was the 1 package of the dill pickle mix with 3 1/3 cups of white vinegar, 7 1/3 cups of water, and then I just threw on top of it some of those roasted peppers and some of the roasted garlic. You go ahead and just stir this until everything's dissolved. Let it come to a boil over a medium heat. And since that's going to be a little time consuming, we'll go ahead and take a really quick break, and I'll be right back. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and start stuffing these pickle jars. Then I've washed them and sliced them up, just however you like. You can do long ways, you can do spears, you can leave them whole, you can do pretty much whatever you want. These are your pickles. I like the spears. They're easier to get out of the jar, and quite frankly, I'm addicted to pickles, so I'm going to just do the spears like I like them right now, just because. Be careful with them laying down, just because then you can't get as many in the jar. I don't want to pack them too tightly, just because they're hard to get out then. I'll leave some space for all that yummy, spicy dillness just to soak in and get all that brine and everything else. So here we go. Here's one. And I just noticed it was a little easier to do it kind of laying on their side. I don't know if this is how my aunt did it. I really don't remember. I just remember they did it, and I don't remember the hows. I remember eating them later. I remember having a barbecue and talking about all these spicy food and the pickles and probably peppers is what I'm remembering, and I'm just thinking that they're pickles. And my uncle taking me in the house and telling me, okay, if I wanted to have these, that was fine, and bringing out a piece of bread and pouring me a glass of milk and telling me that no matter how hot they were, I could spit it out, but if I wanted to keep eating them, that was fine, but not to drink any water. If they were too hot, I had to drink the milk and eat the bread, because water was just going to make it burn even more. And so I remember eating them. I remember them being hot. I remember him being right about the bread and the milk. So if you eat something, whether it be peppers or pickles or anything else that's too spicy, don't drink the water. Drink the milk and eat the bread, because that seemed to just do the trick. And as you can see, they're just in there. They're kind of all happy and yummy and getting ready to go. And it's really not that difficult. I'm probably not going to have enough pickles or enough cucumbers for the entire batch that this brine is going to make. So I've also got a whole bunch of zucchini. from my neighbor too, and they're just huge. And I've been making zucchini bread and zucchini brownies and taking it all to work. Well, not the zucchini bread. I saved that, popped it in the freezer for Thanksgiving. So I may go ahead and pickle some zucchini too. I don't think we'll get to that today, but who knows? Depends on how ambitious we all are. So yeah, I think I'm only going to get about 5 jars out of these cucumbers. And like I said, there was a fair amount of cucumbers. They filled this entire red bowl here after I got them all sliced, and they look absolutely delicious. So go ahead and, I only have a few left, so I'm going to stuff them in here and find a little home for them no matter what. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and check on that brine. I know it says stir constantly, but I've got that all pretty well dissolved. So as soon as it boils, I'll be right back, and we'll go ahead on to the next step. Alright, so we got that brine boiling, and all I've done here is I've just put in a large glass measuring cup, with spout here, that I can pour the brine into rather than trying to pour the pot directly into the pickles and the jars, because as my friends and family and the entire staff at Advanced Medical already knows, I have a tendency to be a bit accident prone. If you go, wow, that's impossible, how could somebody hurt themselves like that? Yeah, pretty much I can. And have. So we're going to go ahead and just start that real easy, and then I'm going to take this jar and I'm going to slowly fill them about a ½ inch from the top. Don't go over that. With this brine. And there we go, that's good. Careful, it's hot, because remember, this was boiling when you took it out of the container, poured it in here. So, go ahead and just keep filling those. And I went ahead and sliced up one of those zucchinis and filled one of these jars with zucchini too. Figured I sterilized 6. I may as well use all 6. We'll just have to see if there's enough brine to go around. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I'm pretty much playing it all by ear. Don't try tasting the brine. Probably wind up sneezing and coughing your head off, because that's just an awful lot of vinegar to have smelling around in your nose there. Gets just a little overwhelmed. Kind of makes you get that quick little idea of what getting pepper sprayed would be like. Not that the vinegar and the pepper spray are really going to be all that similar. It's just going to be a little bit baby steps of what that will really be like one day. So I highly recommend against it. So here we go. Here's some more of, this is going to be the zucchini, like I said, and it's just an experiment. I kind of figured you can pickle artichoke hearts and beets and eggs and everything else. Why not pickle zucchini? Ran that idea by a friend of mine who I guess doesn't really like zucchini, so he wasn't too up on the idea, but he doesn't have to eat them. And, ooh, looks like we might actually be cutting it kind of close. So in all the online research here that I read is you can go ahead and kind of mix up a 1-to-1 of vinegar and water if you do run out of the brine, and this one's going to be really tasty because it's going to have all that extra goodness in it from the seeds and the coriander and the dill and everything else that just comes in that package, not to mention the garlic and the peppers I put in it. I'm just slowly kind of mixing some water here, mixing some vinegar. See where we get. The next step of this is we're going to put the lids on, and we're going to put them in a boiling water bath like I showed you earlier. For at 1,000 feet they say to do it for 10 minutes, and then add an extra minute for every 1,000 feet above that. I'm about 2,700 feet, so I'm going to put them in for about 13 minutes. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to just go ahead and put the lids on these jars. Again, remember, they are hot. Be very, very careful. You don't want to burn yourself. If you do, don't run your hand under cold water. It's just going to add fluid to the blister. It's going to increase the burn. I guess that's kind of a pattern with burns, whether it be burning in your mouth or burning on your skin. One of the things you can do, though, is go ahead and put in or put on a little bit of butter, some margarine, something with an oil. Don't know why it works. I've had lots of burns and it does. I've also done the took some egg whites and put it on there. So I'm thinking that's got to do with whatever oils and colostrums or whatever else is sitting there inside that oil and that fat and just getting all good. But and again, you know, the oils and fat and the tastiest part of anything. So the next step is using the handy tongs because the water is boiling and it's hot and I don't want to burn myself any more than I have to. Go ahead and carefully, very, very carefully, go ahead and submerge those jars right into your water bath. I went ahead and measured in advance when I was sterilizing these to see just how much water I would need. Ooh! And I am going to overflow just because that is my luck. So all I'm going to do there is I'm just going to scoop out some water to make it real easy. I don't think all this cooking, canning, and baking needs to be nearly as hard as some people make it. I mean, after all, if Julia Child could figure out to do it and she wasn't quite beyond boiling eggs when she started, then there's absolutely no reason any of us can't do it. One of the keys is remember it's a recipe, it's a guideline, it's not necessarily the way you have to build the Taj Mahal. It's just a good way to go through things. Yeah. So here we are, we're back again. We finished the pickling. Jar is set for about 24 hours. Everything else is in the cupboard. This one has been in the refrigerator for a day and a half. And as you can see, the pickles look like pickles. All nice and yummy. Didn't get quite as spicy and tangy as I wanted, but it's got a nice burn in the back of your mouth after you finish, but not so much that you need any bread or milk. So there you go. There's our first attempt at pickles. Frankly, I think it was a success. So let's see what we do next time. Have a great day.